Welcome back to MTFC TV. Joining me this time is assistant manager Kayde Coppin. Kayde, 1-1 draws today. How do you feel the game went?
Not too bad. A lot of positives, a couple of negatives. We've obviously played 2 games in 48 hours, which has been difficult, obviously, with the weather. Buxton last night, tough opposition. Changed a few things today. I just think we're just lacking that training time, minutes on the training ground, a couple of lads' combinations and sort of relationships where it'll come. But they're a good outfit, they play some good football. But yeah, we just need to do some stuff on the training ground, which we know, we're 16 days in. We've got another couple of weeks yet. So yeah, some positives.
Ultimately, that is what pre-season is about, getting that time in legs. I know it's difficult to convey to somebody who is not an athlete, who isn't involved with sport, how difficult it is to play 2 games in a 24-hour spell.
Yeah.
How have the lads coped with that? How are they sort of the feel in the changing rooms?
Good. Individually, lads are at different stages. Some have played more minutes. We're trying the programs that they're on. We're trying to get everyone's minutes, up to speed, which is difficult because different games and whatnot. But I think it was good. It's a learning curve playing 2 games in 48 hours or 24 hours. A lot of the pro clubs do it, and they rotate to 11s. We've not had 2 11s over the 48 hours, so it's been pretty difficult trying to get quotes, the right minutes and Evo. But the workload's good because that's what we want ultimately. The heat's obviously not helped today. But yeah, no, good. I think it's definitely something we'll look to do again next year.
Now, Jake Day comes on, second half, grabs his first goal after a brilliant bit of work by Reece Webb-Foster, pressing, capitalise on a defensive mistake. That must be something that must be really encouraging for you in the gaffer to see early doors.
Yeah, definitely. Jake was someone that Paul's obviously identified, and we wanted to obviously get him over the line. He's the right fit for our style of play and what we want to do moving forward. So it's important. But again, we've got to look after Jake. It's important that he's fit and he's ready to go at the start of the season. So trying to get him the right minutes. In terms of today, he's come on, he's done well. He done well last night. But he's got to get used to it. He's got to get used to the lads who play in between the lines, the midfielders, the wing backs. How Burns is crossing the ball, where's he playing it to, and everything's only come with training on the pitch. But we all know what Jake is. This level of football and the level above. He's going to score goals. He's going to be a problem for defenders, and that's obviously ultimately why Paul's gone out and brought him to the club.
We've seen as well in these 2 games a range of trialists, some named, some not.
Yeah.
Is that going to be something that goes into the next 2 upcoming games, Mansfield and Chesterfield, or are you and Philo closer to finalising what you see as the squad for this coming season?
The next 2 games, opposition obviously a lot tougher than the previous 2. I think Tuesday we need to start, even though we've, as I've mentioned, we've not been on the training pitch. For me, pre-season, you get 1 or 2 opportunities to impress. It's not a stage where you can just be kept on. For us, we're trying to go places. We're putting things off the pitch. So lads get 1 or 2 opportunities. Tuesday, there'll be a couple who are not with us. And then Tuesday, depending on how lads perform, they won't be with us Saturday. Because we've got to get to a stage now where trialists or lads who are coming in, we're trying to have a look at. If you only get half an hour, that half an hour, you've got to show us everything you can do. And I know it's difficult because I've said you don't know players, but in half an hour, you've got to give us as much as as you can. You're ultimately trying to get yourself a deal at a football club. So if all I keep hearing is, next week I'll be better and whatnot, I expect lads now at this level of football to come back fit. So not match fit, but I expect them to fit and do the basics well. So if them basics are not there, you're going to struggle to stay with us. Paul said that, he's echoed it to the lads. So yeah, Tuesday, I don't expect as many to be here. So I think we had 19 today, or 20, so probably get whittled down to 17, so 2 will probably move on. And then come the Chesterfield game, we might be at 16, and then we've got 2 sessions, the Tuesday, Thursday, or the Wednesday, Friday, whichever it may be. Then it might be a case of we've got 16 in, and then we've only got 4 weeks left. So we'll be looking at starting 11, trying to work on different things. So yeah.
I think as well, I'm not sure, I think it was in an article that was in the Derbyshire Times, Paul said that it was still open to bringing in signings, but they had to be signings that were right for the club and right for the budget. Do you feel it's a case of there's no need to panic, act now, and the players that would have possibly not been available earlier in the summer will bring their demands down, or are you feeling you and Paul will want to get the squad in early doors, will get that finalised?
Yeah, ideally, look, I've said it before, you want to get the squad in, you want to identify the players you want to sign, so you can sort of integrate them, what we're trying to do, what our processes are, how we're trying to play, because the more time you've got, the better it is moving forward. But again, a lot of clubs are just going back, especially the clubs who have done well last year, and, players are filtering down from the Conference North, people who might become available because of location and one or two other things. But again, if we're trying to sign players, we're identifying them. That's where we're at as a club now. If there's a player available and Paul's looked at him, or a member of the staff, Bri, or whoever it may be, Dave, we're trying to identify players so we can bring them in for that certain position. We're not just sort of cherry picking players from anywhere. Yeah, there's been one or two trialists, but ultimately we know where we want to be. We know what we're looking for. So as I've mentioned, the lads who come in, which I've said, you might only get half an hour. And that might be it, and it might be harsh, but that's where we're at the minute. You get half an hour. If you impress you with us again, you might get 60 minutes, and then from there, we'll take you moving forward. But the answer to the question is, if Paul's identified some lads, and there is still one or two who are waiting on decisions, if we can get them over the line, great. If not, there'll be opportunities for other lads to come in and take them positions.
Talking about two lads that have came in, announced last night, Joe Ferguson, who wasn't here today, I believe he picked up a bit of a back strain against Buxton. He has come in from Blackburn Rovers, I believe. I think it was one of his final games for their under-23s. He scored against Arsenal under-23s, so he's played at a higher level. What was it about that signing that made you think he's a player we want to bring in?
Joe's he's a good footballer. We're sort of trying to integrate players who have got different abilities, different capabilities with what we've got in terms of, being big, strong, hard to beat. We're trying to find that. We're trying to find the bit in between. Last year we missed on, certain things. The last 10 games, there was just sort of little combinations missing. So Paul's identified him. We watched him last year, thought he was a really good player. And Joe will be exciting. He's good on the ball. He gets forward. He can beat somebody, and he's probably different from the players we've had in his position because he can go past someone quite easy, and he's confident. He wants to do well. And I've got high hopes for Joe. I have.
Sean Higgins, somebody who I've spoke to, some of the people at Trafford spoke very highly of him. Young lad who seems to really want to move on in the game and impress. He's come on today. I thought when he came on, he did well. What was it about him in particular that made you make that move? Sean,
again, a little bit like Joe. His ability on the ball, trying to help him with the players that we've got to, bring out different abilities in the players we've got. Brian again, credit to Brian, he's watched him, he's gone out and done the research on him. We spoke to Sean, I spoke to myself, he was saying all the right things, he wants to learn, he wants to progress. Had his previous manager, Danny, good reviews, said good things about him. And again, I think Sean, if he listens and learns, playing next to Ryan and Evan, who've got loads of experience, I think if he can bring to us what he'd done for Trafford last year, I think he'd be exciting again. The fans are going to like him. For him, it's just about learning, developing this level, the physicality of the players he's going to come up against. We've got to try and get that into him. But again, Sean, been identified. We've got him over the line, same as Joe, and we've got big hopes for him.
Today, you got 30 minutes to 45 minutes of yourself. I think it was 45.
Yeah.
Very much, if anyone thought with your new assistant manager duties, you'd be stepping away from playing.
Yeah.
I think another thing coming, you definitely put yourself apart. How are you feeling after that? And are you looking forward to playing more?
Yeah, no. I think, it's difficult because I've mentioned before when I spoke to you or Matt or whoever it may be, when you take the load behind the scenes of trying to do stuff for Paul, Brian, Dave, Schutz, there's a lot to take on. So even last year when I wasn't the assistant, there's a lot to do trying to make sure the platform for the lads is right, setting the standards in training. and it takes a bit away from your fitness, your focus of trying to get yourself right. This year I've tried to do a little bit more, but off the field I've had a lot going on, so that's obviously been difficult. But you know, credit to the lads. The lads want me to play. You know, they still think I've got something to offer. So it'd be a case for me to just try and, you know, keep fit, try and get as many minutes on the pitch as I can. And if lads, you know, are underperforming all these opportunities for me or anyone else, you know, we'll take them.
Thank you very much, Kayde.
No worries.